I think that insecure leaders are some of the most dangerous people walking the face of this earth. There are people in leadership positions that, in my opinion, aren't really fit. I've explained why it's important for men to lead, but the unfortunate reality, Gatry, is a lot of us aren't equipped to lead. We gotta do something about that, man.
This is Caesar Walker, the cool, calm, collected one.
And I'm Ronnie Gatry, the emotional one.
And we are the Tipping Point Podcast, your source for the black male's perspective.
Tipping Point Podcast.
I want to talk about the importance of leadership in a sense of it being healthy, right? It's one thing to be a leader, but it's another thing to be an effective leader. And we kind of talked about it a little bit last week, but I want to take a deep dive into it. And you talked about being insecure. I think that insecure leaders are some of the most dangerous people walking the face of this earth.
Big facts.
And I can unpack that further, but there are people in leadership positions that, in my opinion, aren't really fit. Again, we're talking about men leading. I've explained why it's important for men to lead, but the unfortunate reality, Gatry, is a lot of us aren't equipped to lead.
More big facts.
We got to do something about that, man. I'm not saying we're going to have all the answers tonight or in this recording, but there are a lot of men who are unhealthy but have a lot of responsibility. And I think that's dangerous for whoever's following. It's dangerous for him. What are your thoughts on unhealthy forms of leadership?
Well, as I'll say recovering insecure leader, I've got a lot that I can share here. So I've got to try to fit it for consumption.
Do your best.
I want to start from the top, though. Like, I can honestly and openly admit I was not prepared to lead once I, accepted my duties as a husband. I was not. I thought I was, but there were a lot of insecurities I have about myself, just about like where I was in my life, where I was in my career, and then also considering my wife's profession, that poured on more insecurities. You know what I mean? She's in a medical profession that, out earns me exponentially. So I put a lot of that pressure on myself, and it impacted the way that I led, and I was very controlling. And there was little to no accountability, not only on my wife's behalf, and I got to credit her because she hung in there, and like she dealt with all this, but until she couldn't anymore, and I've talked about it before. Me losing my job was like the breaking point, because that's when I just went off the deep end, and just had a kid. I was going through all that, but for me, like, if I could have done it all over again, I definitely would have. I don't know if I would have started therapy, but I would have definitely found a way to be more confident in sharing my shortcomings with those who were close to me. And several of those guys I got a lot of trust for to this day. And one of them in particular was imparting things upon me even back then that I didn't appreciate at the time, because I would hear it, but I was like, no, I got this figured out. I'm optimized husband when I was far from that. But listening is good. Community is great. You touched on that last week too, about the value of like having somebody that you can bounce ideas off of, somebody you respect. Mm-hmm. And I had that. I just didn't utilize that fully. So definitely would have done that. Would have definitely gotten more premarital counseling. More. Mm-hmm. We got what was needed for us to have the ceremony in the church, and that was it. And on top of that, I would have been more intentional about having some type of routine marriage counseling going for us. Because, man, those early years of a marriage, dude, that shapes a lot of stuff. It really does. Yeah. So like another thing, and I won't stay here too long, but I also allowed myself to get wrapped into how the wedding in particular is all about the bride, all about her. That didn't help my insecurities either. So having a operable time machine, if I were to go back, I would have been more open about, hey, like, I don't care about what, the flowers or the or the clothing arrangements or whatever, but like, you're not having this wedding if I'm not here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think me bringing that awareness then could have made an impact.
How did that affect you? Your feelings about the wedding, like what did
it builds the narrative that you were touching on.
Okay,
we're talking about this, this rise in feminism.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about how a typical bride is leading up to the wedding day. They say it's all about her. It's her wedding. It's her this. It's her that.
Mm-hmm.
I carried a lot of that over. I didn't like that. And it didn't help my insecurities either, because I just felt like I was a sideshow.
Gotcha. I gotcha. You said something earlier that I want to ask you guys. Is there a dollar amount on a man being able to lead in his home?
Oof. There's not. I know that now.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. 13 years ago, I would have said yes.
A lot of people feel that it is.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, no. Excuse me. There's not.
There's
but
not.
Back then, I would have said yeah. And I could see how some people could subscribe to that, for sure.
Yeah.
Money is power in this nation. Money's power on this globe.
Right.
And I know I subscribe to that. And one of the things I had to deal with, and I can joke about it now, but one of the things I had to deal with was, in particular, the house that we lived in when we got married. Like, that was me. Like, I built that. I was sustaining that. I put in the hard work to earn that house. And so now my wife comes in, and, right at the beginning of our marriage, like, she's still in school. She's still like, she's got to get her education. But man, when she hit the ground running professionally and we sold that house, bro, that was like, to me, that was like the final piece for me. Like, that was all I had to show for anything, because no matter what you're doing, it's my house. You can do whatever you need to do, but you in my house. I know we're married, so it's ours, but you know whose house is it. So once things started changing, once we started seeing like what she was earning, oh my gosh, yeah. It made it easier for me to fall back into say, well, okay, you lead, baller. So yeah, dude, I've lived through that. Like I have subscribed to that at one point.
I mean, that's real. And you have a lot of people who feel that whoever earns the most gets to call the shots. What you
Right.
think about it, Black?